Hey everyone, Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily, and I have none other than the master of disaster, Clay McLeod Chapman.
The disaster master, the pastor of your disaster, everlaster, your disaster. Gonna bring that disaster to your master.
you, you wrote a novel that kicked me in the kidneys so hard. I don't know. I
Oh
don't know that I've
God.
recovered yet because then it turned out to be nonfiction. Is basically what I'm trying to say, and that is wake up and open your eyes.
Thank
Taking the
goodness it was
country
your
by storm.
kidneys. Like I mean, there are other places.
I mean, look, the bottom. Well, yeah, no, it hit those places too. The bottom line is the novel is the best you've written, in my humble opinion, and you've
Oh
written incredible novels.
God, it's
Um,
about friggin' time that I write something that's good, right?
it's just, you've made me scared of ghosts and scared of crabs, and now you've made me scared of all people. So well done, Clay.
Yay. Yeah. Thank you. I You know, it's nice when people say the thing that they just read is their favorite, because that shows growth. Maybe that shows progress. You know, maybe there's some development, like enrichment. Maybe I'm getting better.
Who am I to say that you're getting better? Because I thought you started out pretty damn great. Ghost Eaters just rock my world. What Kind of Mother? Come on. But this this one this one is I hope you take this as a compliment. And I think you will. This one has a lot of Evil Dead vibes for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's no two ways about it. Like this is just, I'm just Evil Deading it the
Yeah.
whole damn time.
You know, spoiler alert, I went and I saw you at Books or Magic a couple of weeks ago with Sam Zimmerman.
Sam Z.
And it was an incredible night. You did your, I mean, look, you did, you did your Clay Road show, and I mean, poor Ed got, that's his fault for sitting on the aisle.
That's poor Ed. He just looked too damn good.
He
I
got,
had to I had to take that fine head of hair and scruff it up.
look, you're gonna walk around Brooklyn with that sexy head of hair. You're asking for it. You're just asking for it. So
I mean, it was his fault. It was his fault. We're victim blaming now. This is terrible.
That
But
is,
like,
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, no, it was his fault.
But the night was fantastic because you I was going to say you read from the book. You didn't. You put on a one-man show, and it was so kinetic and so alive, but it's so representative of the novel itself because it is so visceral and kinetic, and you're reading and you're turning the pages, and it's jumping out and it's grabbing and it's chewing and it's biting and it's all those things. But there's so much underneath that, and that's what I want to talk about tonight. Was just the underlying current of electric dread that is very real right now and is continuing, and it seems like it's only growing. That static is only getting louder and louder. But let's start from the beginning, and I think the beginning boils down to you talking to friends and finding out through conversation, well before the election, that certain segments of their friends and family were kind of almost like they were becoming possessed by what they were watching.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's so strange now because I feel like there was 2016 and then there was 2020. Now there's 2024. And each of these kind of major 4-year epochs have kind of, I don't know. It's wild how we're kind of in this place right now. But I do want to kind of cop to the notion that like 10 years ago or more now, my family, I have been personally aware of the kind of slow riptide of radicalization or indoctrination or, the shift in ideologies of certain members of my family. And It was really hard to take. It's totally like just one of those things where as you see it kind of happening in these fits and spurts, it was really kind of startling. And what was kind of comforting is not the right word anymore. There was a certain level of cold comfort in that idea of not being the only person who had family who were kind of like shifting in their ideologies,
Yeah.
all because of where they were getting their news from. And I read a lot of articles. I did that thing of coastal elite kind of liberal individual, just like I listened to my podcasts, I
Yeah.
watched my CNN, like I did all the things that I'm supposed to. I read the articles in the Times and I forwarded them to my friends. But like I saw a kind of a consistent refrain of like, I don't even recognize my parents anymore. I don't recognize my uncle anymore. It's like they're possessed. And it's just so amazing. Like it's just like I feel like I'm such a literal minded individual, but like I hear that. I hear it is like my parents are possessed. And I just think of that at face value and I say to myself, has anyone ever done that? Like has anyone like told that story? And I couldn't find anybody.
I don't
So
know of any.
yeah,
No.
I mean, like, what out there has done that? Like, is there any book, any movie? I mean, Cell, maybe.
Maybe.
You
I
know,
The closest one would be the Pontypool series, which we which
Pontypool.
which we talked about at
Yeah,
Books or Magic.
yeah,
But that's more of a zombie plague, really. I
yeah.
mean, it's close, but no, I think you really nailed it with this one.
And I was talking about like 2020. Like, it's just weird how like I feel like we're kind of caught in a loophole and we're not breaking out of it. But like, I wrote it at a point where I genuinely thought we would be kind of looking at things in the rearview mirror,
Same.
and this would be a pleasant artifact of like, do you remember when those days? Do you remember when like that was the like? Oh, we're past that now. Like we're so look how good we are. Look how you know. I'm losing my train of thought, but it is amazing how like I I thought this book would be an artifact, like a totem of like a bygone era,
Hey,
but
you're right.
no.
You and I both thought we'd be looking in the rear view and it would be getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then, a couple of years from now, it would be a punchline or an
Mhm.
anecdote. And now, unfortunately, it's not.
Mhm.
I have to ask, what was the research like? When you started digging in, off,
Mhm. Mhm.
based off of, okay, it's like a possession. Let me find out what that looks like. Let me start digging in.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I mean, it was oddly enough, like I enjoyed it. Uh, like doing research, particularly for a book like this, like it's just an opportunity. It's an excuse for me to have fun and like do deep dives, like just
Hmm.
read, like slip down the rabbit hole of information. So I just imbibed every possession book, like demonic possession book that I could find, like watched every demonic possession movie, like really trying to like see what was out there on on the macro level of like just what exists, from like nonfiction and fictional accounts, air quote fictional or non-fictional accounts of demonic possession and how they were treated and like the alphabet of demons and like just I ate that shit up. And then on the other end of the spectrum, beyond demonic possession, I read a lot of like radicalization books and
Yeah.
like a lot of you know speaking specifically to ideologies and how they shift into kind of like darker currents, like how a belief system can like curdle into radicalization. So
Hmm.
and those books were a little more sobering for sure. They were a lot less fun with the
Yeah.
capital F. But they were really illuminating. Like, God, like I wish I could kind of name them off the top of my head, but there was this one book that I find really kind of interesting because there's these two sisters who I think they lived in the Midwest, teens, kind of came from a strict-ish suburban, family. And at a certain point, one of the sisters started a relationship with someone online. Like they only knew them through social media.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, that whoever that person was on the other side, I mean, ultimately, like this young woman is getting catfished by a terrorist cell. So you're the nonfiction book, the historical account is basically watching this young woman shift from, kind of like this aimless, struggling suburban girl in the Midwest to one wife of many of like this terrorist group, like joining ISIS. It's like, and how the other sister kind of who wrote the book ends up like speaking specifically of like her pursuit to save her sister and bring her sister back. And I mean, you read stuff like that and it's just, I think it was called American Girls. God, I think that's what the title was. I hope that's what the title was. But it's just like an utterly fascinating account of, watching someone shift because the person they think that they're talking to ends up not being the person.
Not being that person.
And
yeah. I have something that I don't want to get ahead of myself, but you mentioned something that was so terrifying to me. But we'll get to it. I have to pace myself. Okay, you had said that you basically wrote the novel because you wanted to understand how somebody could go through this process and kind of go down that rabbit hole and not come back, and you wanted to see if you're looking for a cathartic experience. Did you get it?
No. Like it's funny. Like this is like, I don't think of this book as like a very cathartic book, unfortunately. And I feel like people are really looking for catharsis right now. Like
I'll fight against that a little bit though. That's okay. We need books. The hero doesn't always win, and those stories are just as important and just as entertaining as the ones where they do.
Yeah. I do feel like I think there's a certain catharsis and connectivity. Like what has been the biggest reward from readers for me is this idea that certain readers are coming to it and acknowledging, oh, I'm not alone, that I'm not the only one who is dealing with, circumstances much like these.
Yeah.
And it leads to a certain conversation that tends to happen on social media, or, I'll meet people, at live events who will share their stories. And there's something like genuinely comforting about that idea of like, I'm not alone. And that a book like this can potentially connect other people to people who are going through a similar
Oh, I think so very much. And I think that's the power of the book. Besides the fact that it's a thrilling book and it's highly entertaining, I really do feel like it's got some connective tissue to, hey, yeah, let's, I'm here too, and we can talk about that, and we can support each other, which I think is the bottom line. I mean, you really nailed it at the event. Last 5 minutes, it was very emotional and it was very touching because you said, look, I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know what any of this looks like, but I do know that people coming together who share a common interest and are supportive, that can get you through those times. I mean, at least it can shore up the walls a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel as if right now I see a lot of despair and a lot of people who, are always, they're kind of like checking in, like, you doing okay? Like people are, even if it's just something silly and slight on social media of like, hey, how's everybody doing? I've noticed like folks like Chuck Wendig will just kind of have a moment of like, hey, how is everybody? And people respond to that. And it is so slight and so simple. And yet, like, I do think that like the simplest of gestures connects people together. And,
Yeah.
I'm doing a book tour right now in the dead of winter, and people are still coming out. And like that night, that event you came to, it was friggin' freezing.
It wasn't warm. It wasn't,
It
but it
was
was
not warm.
great.
And like I have to kind of acknowledge that that's like getting people together in a time where, it would be very easy not to. Like
Yeah.
everybody like it would be kind of, it's getting progressively easier to like kind of silo. I don't know, like I just really appreciate that. Like I need it, and I can't help but say thank you to anyone who wants to like brave the blizzards.
I actually think you're going to see more of it because I think people are looking for that. They're looking
Mm.
for that communal experience now. It's almost like, you know, it, maybe going back to basics a little bit of just getting out and getting together with people and just connecting.
Mhm.
Almost like, clean slate. Let's start over. What's a connection look like on one to one? And these events are fantastic for that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just through that event alone, I met Meg Ripley, and now,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Meg's the
Meg is the best.
just the best,
Oh
coolest
man.
head of hair on the planet too. Absolutely the best. But now, that connection, we're going to do something together. She's going to come on and talk about some movies, and I'm certainly
Uh-huh.
going to talk about her book. And it's those little things, and it's
Yeah.
all positive, and it's all supportive. And this is what I'm talking about. So yeah,
Yeah.
it can be based off of an experience that we're all having collectively that's not pleasant to go through, but we
Yeah.
can have good experiences
Yeah.
based off of it. So I
Uh,
want to get now shifting wildly back into back into gloom. I want to make sure I get this right. So you had stated in other interviews when I was doing my research that, okay, so we have Fox News, of course, and Fox is the low hanging fruit because everything is just so right on the nose.
mhm.
DEI is responsible for plane crashes. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But you had stated that you know you follow these links and memes,
Mhm.
and you kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper until you have that epiphany of like, what is this all about? What is behind all this? What's
Mhm.
the intent? And when I read that, it terrified me. it, I mean, it really was like, it was like cold sweat time
Mhm.
because I don't necessarily think that. What
Mhm.
is the intent behind all this where you're just going down, this daisy chain of chasing whatever it was you started with and wherever it is you end up, and they couldn't be further apart sometimes. And you're like, what? What was this last 20 minutes or 2 hours? And it's so freaking, it's nightmare fuel. And that's the novel.
Yeah. Um, I I have children, and they have their screen time. And one of the things that kind of inadvertently became really kind of unnerving is YouTube's algorithm, that like the autoplay function
Mm-hmm.
is probably one of the more sinister like like uh functions of a web, like a platform that I've ever experienced. Because there's something to be said about, because my kid watches a video, and it's a video about it's Baby Shark. Let's just
Baby
say it's
Shark.
Baby Shark. And then right behind it, queued right up, is something that is like an inch deeper from whatever Baby Shark is. It like
Mm-hmm.
goes down. It's like it's always this like weird kind of descent
Yeah,
in my mind. Um
I agree.
and and it's like, what is like a foot deeper than Baby Shark? And then okay, what is a foot deeper than that video? And then what's a foot deeper and it's just like it's creating this kind of like, you're drilling all the way down to hell.
Yeah.
Video after video after video. And it's just YouTube. It's just the algorithm serving them up. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you like Baby Shark. Do you want to watch, Baby Garrett? Do you want to watch Baby Lynch Mob? Do you want to watch Baby Gangbang? Like, it's like, and it's like, whatever parental controls kind of keep it in line, like, is, I know it's there and that shrewd parent can kind of control it. But it is amazing how like that slope just kind of like, there's like a plummet. It's just like an elevator that goes down, 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 down. And each floor is just another video. And each subsequent video is just like a little bit gnarlier.
Yeah.
And, it is not, and like, I know this because like I watch plenty of YouTube, and like the autoplay is just like, oh, you want a little bit more of that? Well, here's a little bit. There's like, and then finally you're like, in the dark web, man.
Yeah. I mean, you're bidding on kidneys and you're like, I don't even want a kidney. How did I get here?
Where are my kidneys? What happened?
Oh, it's so scary. It's so scary, but it's all to say that you use the research that you did and the experience that you've had. You use them so well in Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. I need to make sure that people know this is an incredibly entertaining novel. It is your best novel to date. It is so much fun. It is, I love a good story that takes, this one is in 3 acts. We're with the Fairchild family, and we go through different variations of their experiences with Noah and with Asher and the parents. I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm just leaving everything very vague.
Spoiled. I don't know. Is there anything to spoil? There's no like
revelations. There's no like, that moment. Although around 50 pages in, there is a definite that moment with Mom.
Oh God.
Yeah. But I'm leaving it there because people have to read it to find out what the hell I'm talking about. We're not spoiling that. They need to come to it and enjoy it.
Oh, man. That's the litmus test. I wanted it to be a litmus test. I didn't know how much of a litmus test it was going to be. People really are not happy with that moment.
Oh, does it say something weird about me that I hit that moment and I was like, this is Clay's best work? Oh no.
I mean, it was there as a line in the sand, and it's basically saying, okay, we're gonna shift into a higher gear now, and this thing is gonna go a little bit off the rails.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I mean, we're like, how many films of Evil Dead in? I feel as if maybe because it's literature, maybe because it's literary, that it's different than film. But I feel like film has been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
And then
that's fair.
I mean, I've said this time and time again, and I really, truly, I feel it. But I feel like if Reagan was violating herself with a crucifix in 1972, like 50 years ago, and that is the kind of like foundational text for all demonic possession stories to come ever since. Like, you have to, it's not necessarily like uncharted territory or new ground as much as it is just like further, like pushing it. like Mom had to get a little gnarly.
Yeah.
Especially after Evil Dead. My God, like we're on this trajectory, and yet like never fail. Like people are like, I take issue with this book because that just can't happen. That is not something that I want in my novels.
Does that happen with every novel? Do you get those people that are like, hey, this just was a deal breaker for me?
No, I mean, I have not gotten as many Wake Up and Open Your Eyes has major deal breakers.
Yeah.
There are a lot of deal breakers. I think I kind of got them all in one book. And
Must have been so fun.
I mean, I thought so. But no, I mean, like it is, it's just so funny because like I find that like every time you write a book and you put it out there in the world, which is such a friggin' gift, and then people start to read it and like they have their expectations. They're like, I want to read this book. I'm going to give this book a chance because I'm excited, because this is what I believe the book is or will be.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you read it and that expectation kind of shifts. And it could either be like, oh, this is better than anything I could have ever expected, or like, oh, this is interesting, I didn't see that coming, or this is not what I want the book to be. This is not what I expected, and therefore I'm going to find fault in the book. And that is the biggest bummer to me, because it's like, I get like the book is not going to be for everybody. The book will definitely not be for everybody or anybody. But like, I always find it kind of a bummer when people are like, this book is no good because it's not what I expected it to be.
That's not fair. That's
not fair. It's not fair. But you know what? It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Like, I'm a big guy. I can deal with it. But I just, like, what I love is this idea that there's a book out there for you, and you just have to find it.
Gotta find it. And that's the fun.
Gotta find it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means getting through a lot of books that aren't for you. And that's okay.
That's okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And if like a book is not for you, I don't think you should, it's no one's fault. The book is just not for you. Doesn't mean the book is bad. Doesn't mean you're a bad reader. It just means that like this date with the book didn't work. So we can part ways and be like, okay, that was fine. Move on.
The only thing I have issue with is if someone writes off an artist because of one thing. Now, all right, I'm not. If someone were not to go back to the Clay McLeod Chapman pool of literature because they didn't enjoy one book, that would upset me. That would upset me.
It happens all the gosh darn time.
I can imagine.
But it's. I don't know. I wanna believe that each book is a bit of a pivot from the one before.
Oh, so, I think so. For in your catalog, yes. Yeah. Good pivots.
But like, there's a lot of ground to cover and a lot of stories to tell, and sometimes it's like, each subsequent book is a reaction to the book before it. So, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes was kind of a reaction to how people were taking What Kind of Mother?
What Kind of Mother?
And What Kind of Mother was a reaction to how people were taking Ghost Eaters, and so on and so forth. And like, I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to like be a better writer, and by challenging myself and kind of like forging into new territory. And sometimes that means losing people along the way. Sometimes it means gaining new people. But
it's funny, your three novels that you just mentioned, it's like you're growing. Your worldview is growing. We're going from smaller stories to larger stories to now like, all right, we're fucking up the world in this last one.
Yeah.
Was there ever a version of Wake Up and Open Your Eyes that was a smaller version?
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah. Oh my God. If I had been left alone and kind of left to my own druthers, it would only have been part 2.
Really?
Section. Yeah. Like the book to me was, let's watch a nuclear family succumb to demonic possession through their own news sources, whether that's social media, wellness, Instagram, Fox News, Baby Shark, like wherever your screens, take you, Twitter, like this. And I could have lived with that lean and mean kind of 200-page, like this granular kind of exploration of a family of 4 just like falling apart.
Yeah.
Like I wanted that to be
Well,
the goal.
the readers still get that though, which is great because
Yeah.
you you,
But
you got to do that.
yeah, my editors were like, this is so suffocating. This is so,
Really?
yeah. I mean, like the middle section is just very granular,
Yeah.
and by design, like it's very repetitive. It's very like cyclical. It's very like it's supposed to feel like you're losing your mind. That you're like
What
getting
I love
like
about it though.
um and my editors are like, you need to like crack a window or something, dude, because this is like really like not a pleasurable experience.
I like how your editors are like the window cracking is then just completely destroying the world basically.
Well, I mean, I do think that like, you know, it is I'm not this is not a judgment call, but like big people love them zombies, those post-apocalyptic, the world is ending, humanity has to rebuild, we got to hit that road, we have to find like, you know, Walking Dead, Last of Us, The Road, like
Mm,
you know, like there's just this like that trope, that kind of story is something that we are familiar with.
for sure.
And I was encouraged to kind of like do that, to write that. And because like to for my publisher, there was this like kind of vibe of we want to see a more macro look at this. Like this is so hermetically sealed within one house. Like what's happening next door, across the street.
Mm.
You know, they just wanted to see the apocalypse. And I'd never done that before. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And like I had to figure out a way to do it that felt different than like all the others. Which, you know, mileage kind of varies there. But you know, like
No, I would say you did it. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed seeing just the catastrophic elements that were happening across, across the country and across the globe. I don't know. I love that stuff. I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's always the first 5 minutes is where it's at. It's like
Mm,
you want the pre-credit teaser. You
true.
want you want the opening of the Dawn of the Dead remake. I think you know the first 5 minutes, like before the credits roll for Dawn of the Dead, it's just a masterclass of tension. Like you know, I'm not a Zack Snyder dude, but like you know, when before Zack Snyder was Zack Snyder and he did Dawn of the Dead, I went into that movie so ready to like loathe it. I was like sharpening the knives, like come on, why remake this? Like this is a sacred cow. Like do not touch Romero. And then like those first 5 minutes, he goes so hard,
Yeah,
and it's just like,
that opening
oh
is insane.
damn,
Yeah.
like here we are. And I was like, I'll shut up, I'll eat my shoe, like I'm ready to bow down. And and the rest of the movie is great too, but I would argue there's something to be said about society in such a free fall, like there isn't time to rebuild yet. It's
Yeah.
just like the shit's hitting the fan
That's the
everywhere.
exciting. That's the exciting stuff. I don't really care about how are we going to filter the water. I don't really care about
Yeah.
that. You know?
I don't need The Walking Dead. As much as I appreciate The Walking Dead, like society rebuilding itself and like humanity learning to kind of like move on. Like
Mm.
let's grow. Like I get it, and there's drama in it, and there's great drama in it, as we've seen on all of these shows. But like at the end of the day, for me, it's always about what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
um, an amazing example is another pre-credit teaser for 28 weeks later. Not 28 days later, but 28 weeks later. Do you remember
That's
seeing
actually
that?
my favorite of the films. The last 20 minutes of that movie is exactly what we're talking about when society collapses.
Yeah.
So it's inverted in that film.
Oh my God. You're making me want to watch it again. I was going to talk about like
That
how
Robert
there's like a,
Carlyle scene in the
yeah,
farmhouse.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was just amazing. But what, like they basically declare like the society they've recreated is collapsing, and the military's there, and it's just like all the shit just goes
Yeah. You're
hits
just
the fan.
waiting for the kettle to boil over, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I just like it when nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Same.
I just if you could live in that for a long, long, long time, I think
I'm
that
cur-
would be
I'm curious about one thing.
yeah.
Speaking of your editors, so they wanted a more macro view, which honestly I appreciate. Even though I love the second part of the book, I love that haunted house, for lack of a better word, story.
Yeah.
Um, but I really do truly appreciate all three
Yeah.
segments of the book. But was there ever a point, because there's a lot of trauma in this book? It is visceral. Oh boy, I'm going to go back to page 50. It is,
Yeah.
you go there. Was there ever a point where your editors either told you, let's dial it back, or let's dial it forward?
There was never dialing it forward.
Okay.
That is for sure.
I
I
didn't think there was.
I think I left it all on the mat, and I was aggressive about it. It's weird. Like I the things I thought would be that I would get pushback from were not, and the things that are like I could kind of see the dog thing coming for sure. Like it's funny how like just there's certain things where it's like I'm writing and like it's like, oh yeah, this is probably gonna be bad. And then just being like, yeah, okay, we'll see how it goes. But no, there was never like no. I want to be sure. I'm not remembering. I don't think there was any moment where someone said, "Can you do more?" But it was pretty amazing how nobody was like, "Will." Like my editors were it wasn't that they were hands off as much as they were supportive.
Okay.
And like it's such a weird distinction to make because like I think I need help. I'm a handsy. I need all hands on deck for my stuff because I'm always like, is this all right? Am I gonna be okay? I think I need people to protect me from me sometimes. And it wasn't that they didn't protect me from me with this one, but they were very much like, this is the story that you want to tell. This is the book that you've written. We're gonna honor that.
Yeah. Now go do it, damn it.
Yeah, and then they kind of it's almost like they backed away. Like they were like I think it's kind of that weird feeling of like lighting a firecracker and like throwing it,
Yeah.
and, like, waiting, like what's gonna happen,
They're like, we told Clay to go write this. Okay, let's see where it goes.
But yeah, like it is, it's so embarrassing for me and my editor because like the biggest fight, and air quote fight, the biggest discussion, debate that we had around cutting something was so amazing because it was like it has so little to do with like the book itself, but like in the middle section, in the Caleb section, the teen brother, the older brother, he's like fascinated with Twitter, and he's like getting indoctrinated, radicalized by way of Twitter. And I don't know if you've visited Twitter, or if you remember this, but like and I feel like this is the same. God, is it the same? I'm gonna regret this if I'm getting it wrong. But like, when you have a text and the text, like you send a text and then someone starts to respond to your text and you're watching the little bubbles, the little bubbles. It's usually like 3 dots and they're like, I remember I had written that like I had written this awful metaphor, this very vulgar metaphor of like those ripples look like a ghost's ejaculating penis, like an invisible dick ejaculating, and like there's a lot of DMing and tweet and getting texts and like, so like this common reoccurring like motif of like a phantom dick jizzing all over this place. Like, and my editor was very much like, we should take this out. And I was like, no.
I worked hard on this phantom dick, damn it.
The hill that I died on was a phantom dick jizz.
Look,
and
we all have our battles.
I mean, and in hindsight, I'm just like, why was that the thing? Like, they cut other stuff, and I was like, okay, fine, I get it. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
It
why
doesn't
this
further
one?
the story? But like, for some reason, the invisible dick jizz was the like, that was the thing that I needed, and it literally went back and forth, back. Like, they cut it, I put it back in. They cut it, I put it back in. And it finally necessitated a conversation where they were like, clearly you want this in. Clearly we don't. So should we discuss this? And I can't even remember. I mean, like, their argument was this is disgusting and distracting and serves no narrative purpose. And I was like, it serves absolutely every narrative purpose, because this is a demonic possession book and this guy's getting possessed by a phantom dick jizz.
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just so awful that like that was it. That was the hill. And I'm embarrassed to admit it, but
Oh, I don't think you should be embarrassed. Well, as a matter of fact, I think you should start telling this story at the live events. Are you crazy? Oh, well, I'm going to show up, and when the Q&A starts, look for this answer.
Can you tell us a little bit about the phantom dick jizz?
Can we talk about ghost jizz?
I mean, how many times have we've all stared at those dots and they just ripple, they fluctuate. They're like, bloom, bloom, bloom. And like, if you look at them long enough, if you just look at them long enough, just next time, okay, here's the challenge. The next time you see those three little ripply ripples, try not to see a dick.
Oh, I like how you're saying this like it's going to be one time. I'm never not going to see this now, Clay. Thank you very much.
I mean, where do those ripples go? What are they rippling? They're like sending like what is the design purpose behind them? Like when whoever created those three little pulsating dots, like what were they thinking? Like it's a forward motion. It goes left to right. It's like something is like pulsing. It is emitting like just like take a magic marker, like take a Sharpie on your screen and like wherever the dots are, paint a dick. Draw a dick. Just draw a dick and like watch the ripples and you'll be like, oh, that's ghost jizz. Clearly.
Well,
that's why it's a ghost. It's not a person's
I just
dick.
found a title for the article.
Like that's like you don't see the dick, you just see the jizz.
No, you just see the jizz.
Like the jizz is like, where's this jizz coming from? A ghost dick.
There's reams of data that are supporting your theory, and it's what it's all about. Oh, the ghost dick. Oh my god! All right, I don't know
when
that
Steve Jobs was like, "We're gonna have these Apple phones, these iPhones, and they're gonna have texts. I want to see jizz all over the screen. I just want phantom dicks everywhere, ghost dicks. You can't see them, but they can jizz on you." Yep. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. I'm done. I got it out of my system. I'm over.
Oh, you're so screwed at the next Q&A. I'm definitely showing up. You're so screwed.
All right.
You had a theory during our interview?
Oh my god.
I don't even know. The next question just say you killed all my questions now because all I can think about is ghost dick. Okay.
That's all I can think about. That's all I can ever think about is ghost dick.
All right, I'm gonna wrap it up and bring it back. Hopefully here.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about the Evil Deadness of the novel, which I think is fantastic. I mean, this is your Evil Dead. This is Clay McLeod Chapman's Evil Dead. I love everything about that. Okay. Look, it's again, I know there's not really a spoiler to the novel, but I don't want to give anything away. But let's just say that it's not necessarily it's not an uplifting book. You know, it's you just you read it, you come to the conclusion that you have when you finish the book. It's fairly nihilistic, but that's up to the reader to decide. I'm not going to put thoughts or words in anyone's mouth. Read the book, find out for yourself. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved everything about it. Now transitioning to the real world. So we're in a period of time. We're in a period of just who even fucking knows what's going on. But do you think that the silver lining to the experience that we're having collectively is that everyone's kind of on their own Joseph Campbell hero's journey at this point? You know, you're up against the forces of evil and you just got to have your own quest and figure it out.
Man. I hope not, to be honest. And I think the reason why is I think part of the problem is that a lot of people feel like they are kind of singularly on a hero's journey. And I think we could stand to have a little more community building and a little bit more groupthink.
Yeah.
The whole I alone can do it. I can save us. I have to throw the ring into the fire pits of Mordor or whatever. Like I just feel like so many people are like, I'm going to do this. You know, I have to do this alone. And like, I don't know. Like, I just want people to be together.
Yeah. I agree.
That's my, yeah.
I don't think we actually can really do it alone. I don't know if you can do anything alone, to be honest. You know, outside of ghost jizz, I don't think you can do anything alone. It's going to take community, but that's what it all comes back to. The community of going to see Clay McLeod Chapman supporting this incredible novel. I can't let you go without asking what's next. What's on the horizon?
A few different things. It's nice. It's a very busy year, which I am very thankful for.
I'm thrilled for you, my friend. I really am.
Yeah, right? Like it's you know, I don't know how long the ride is I'm gonna be able to ride the ride. So I just want to ride the ride. So I have a collection of short stories that comes out in September called Acquired Taste, which is through Titan Books, and that's gonna be a lot of fun because it's just like a hodgepodge of just like weird stories.
All right, cool.
I have a YA novel coming out.
Is this your first YA?
Yeah. I did a middle grade series a while back, but that's younger. So this is the first kind of like YA.
Exciting. All right.
Yeah. And that I think comes out in November, unless they decide otherwise.
Okay.
And then I have this comic series out that just finished called Seance in the Asylum.
Sure.
And the trade paperback for that comes out in June, but like you could get all 4 issues now, which is I really have a soft spot for that, and I hope people find it.
Well, there's going to be links to everything in the article. Can't thank you enough for coming on. This was a trip. I always have so much fun talking to you.
Oh my God. I'm not going to be allowed back.
Oh,
be like,
please.
You can't have him talk about ghost jizz again. Like they're going to be like, wait, who's the next guest? Actually, no.
The crazy thing is the owner and editor-in-chief, Matt Orozco of Macabre Daily, will be like, can we get Clay back for more ghost jizz? You may have dug a hole you can't get out of now, sir.
All right. This is the challenge. This is because we're here and we're clearly in the gutter. And there's like going to be 3 people listening at this point.
It's going to surprise you.
It can't be you. It has to be someone listening. You can't push this.
Okay.
But someone out there needs to create a t-shirt of a phantom ghost dick jizzing. And you got to wear it. I don't care if you like use a Sharpie marker on a white t-shirt. I just need someone to have 3 little pulsating
It's got to
dots.
be the dots.
The
Okay.
dots.
Okay.
And someone like anyone, like that's all it needs to be for me.
Okay.
So that when someone comes up to that person wearing that shirt and they're like, "What's that shirt? What's with that shirt?" They'll be like, "It's a ghost dick jizz." Or take a picture of use your phone and draw
and draw
a
it.
wiener
All right.
on your and see if it works.
You don't know what you're
Someone out there do that and send the picture to us. And if you do that, Sean will give you a lifetime supply subscription to Macabre Daily.
Done.
And yes.
You have my word. I will not influence nor direct nor do any of it. We will have a true test, and let's see what kind of response we get.
We're gonna just sit back and wait for the jizz.
Oh my goodness.
The invis jizz.
The invis of the jizz. Could you imagine this takes off so great that you and I are on Shark Tank. Sharks who wants to jizz their way to millions.
Oh my god.
We just show up with nothing. No, it's a ghost dick.
Yeah. It's just the 3 dots. It's already there. That's the thing. It's in your phone. It's just
it's probably jizzing now.
Oh my god.
My god.
Yep.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.